Hello and welcome back. I'm Dr. Lori Williams. Today I'm going to talk to you about not allowing your past to define your present or your future. So, there's a saying that your past doesn't define you. And unfortunately, so many of us actually allow our past to continue to dictate how we show up in the world, how we handle ourselves, how we respond, how we react, without even knowing it. It's a very automatic, it's become, just automatic part of who we are. But the past should only be there in order to explain the patterns. And the truth of it is you don't even need to explain the pattern. So realistically, you don't have to even look into your past to be able to recognize the patterns and be able to change them. Um, you just have to be able to recognize when there is a pattern that is coming forward, that you're responding from. But the hard part is that because we have been this way for X amount of years, it becomes our personality, our identity. We don't know who we are without it. And to be honest, it is actually very scary to stop and think about who am I on the other side of these patterns. And that fear actually, unfortunately, holds a lot of people locked in place and fearful of making any long term changes within themselves because they don't know who they are on the other side of this identity. Spoiler alert, you're exactly who you truly are when you are at your best, when you aren't being triggered, when you aren't being, in a hostile, what feels like a hostile environment, when you're not having to defend yourself or people please, over explain yourself. The person you are outside of those moments in your life is your true and authentic self. It's not that you're always living from your patterns. So you just will stop having those parts of you, that show up that essentially are robbing you of the life that you're here to live. So, like, who are you without being a people pleaser? You're actually a lot more helpful to the people that need you, ironically. Who are you without being someone that over explains? You are someone who can stand in your power and be able to recognize that you don't have to explain yourself. Some people are going to understand you and some people aren't, and both are okay. So it's not that you become a completely different person. And unfortunately, like I said, this does become a fear for a lot of people and stop them from making these changes. Which honestly, it's sad because you don't transform into a completely different person. You just become more of who you are. It's these patterns that are actually keeping you from being more of who you are. So when you look at your past, for the sake of this video, we're going to be talking about the past. Um, we as adults, we don't enter into adulthood with a completely like a clean slate. We don't just show up into adulthood and be like, I had everything was perfect in my life. We might wish that it is, but the truth of it is for us to learn and to grow as human beings, and even on a soul level, we need to go through challenges. The more challenges you go through, the more growth that you are capable of having in this lifetime, and that's essentially what we're here for. Our soul wants growth. Our soul wants change. So we're not coming into adulthood with a clean slate. We're not, nothing bad has ever happened to us. If you're one of those people, in my experience, if you've never had anything but bad happen to you in childhood, unfortunately, it probably will in adulthood because you still need to learn the lessons regardless of what time of the timeline of when it happens. Um, and every experience, whether you're an adult or a child, it contributes to the beliefs that you have about yourself, about the people around you, humanity in general. Um, it contributes to your assumptions about other people, and yourself, and the behavioral patterns and how you respond and how you react to different environments and different situations in your life. So this is why we don't have a clean slate. We're programmed, we're conditioned. um, so over time, these patterns, they stop feeling like something that we've had to learn, and like I said before, they become our identity, our personality, and they are a little bit difficult to be able to recognize. So the challenge isn't to make your past, like to clear your past or to make it as though your past didn't exist. That's not even possible. But the truth of it is the past only exists in your memories. Your past is not something that's currently happening to you. Therefore, it's only happening in the memories and the energy that you give it through your thoughts and your memories and the emotions that are tied to it. Um, so I want to give you an analogy of um, what conditioning is like, carrying this conditioning from childhood into adulthood is like. So let's say, for an example, if you wear glasses, I wear glasses. I've worn glasses since I was 11 years old. Now I'm 46 now. If I was to wear the same prescription glasses that I first had prescribed to me when I was 11, keeping in mind I had a lot of like lazy muscles and things, like my prescription was so strong that if I kept that prescription and never changed it from 11 years old till now, would I be able to see clearly of it out of it? Absolutely not. Everything would be distorted. Everything would be pixelated. And even though I've had the same, from 11 years old to 46, I've had that same prescription. So I don't know any different. I don't know what it feels like to see clearly. I don't know what it feels like to not have that distortion or that blur in my vision. I don't know any different. So I think that's just the way it is. And then all of a sudden, I get new glasses for what my eyes need as of now. And I start seeing things clearly. It's not that my reality has changed, it's how I can see it. It's the lens and what I'm seeing my reality through that has changed. And carrying our condition is very similar to this analogy of the lens, of the outdated lens. It's We were conditioned for a purpose. It allowed us to navigate our childhood. We just, as children, we adapt. We learn to adapt. We become who we have to be in order to survive, and that's it. As adults, we don't have to do that anymore. So if you're still running on that same programming, carrying that same lens into your adulthood, this is why it doesn't fit. This is why it feels so heavy. This is why you react the way you do. And people will look at you like, what's going on? I didn't mean it that way, but the way you're taking things. And a lot of people will say like, oh, well, that's just my truth. And I mean, there's a certain level of validity to that. But I think people get too stuck in this, oh, well, that's my truth. Your truth, if your truth is based off of your conditioning, it's not actual truth. It is old programming rearing its ugly head again, and that's all it is. So what essentially is going to change the future? And this might sound very simple. In theory, it is very simple. It's not always easy to do, but in theory, it is very simple. Listen, the future, your present and your future is not going to change just because you understand your past. Like I said, you don't even have to know where your patterns are coming from in order to change them. But you need to be able to recognize that the patterns that you have, and also recognize that they are not fixed. They are not fixed part. Your personality is not a fixed part of you. Your identity is not a fixed part of you. Your beliefs are not a fixed part of you. Realistically, I mean, I might have to sit and think about this for a while, but I'm actually struggling to come up with anything within your human self that is actually a fixed part of you, other than your soul. Your soul is a fixed part of you, but as far as the human part of you goes, I cannot think of one thing that is a fixed part of you that you don't have an ability to change in some way, shape, or form. Even your eye color. I mean, you can get lenses to change your eye color if you want to. Not that it's biologically changed, but there is nothing that's absolutely fixed within you. Um, Actually, I'm going to take that back. Your biology can definitely be fixed. But as far as like psychologically, nothing is fixed within you. Your thoughts, your emotions, nothing is fixed. Everything can be looked at, questioned, and changed. And that's essentially what you need to do in order to be able to recognize these patterns and how they're affecting, like the patterns from the past and how they're affecting your present. And they're going to continue to affect your future as well if you don't start questioning them. So, and I tell my clients all the time, if you want to start right now in changing your patterns, just do something different. As soon as you do something different, even something very, very small, as soon as you do something different, it completely interrupts that typical loop that you would take from the way you respond or the way you show up, whatever the case may be. If you do something that small, that loop is now broken and you will not continue on that same loop. because there's a broken spot. It's like a broken link, you know? So when you can stop identifying with these patterns, they start to become something that you observe instead of something that you just automatically do. Just not You're no longer running on autopilot. So essentially, awareness is going to create distance. So the awareness of the issue, of the pattern, is going to create a space for you to be able, that space creates an opportunity for you to have a choice, and then that choice, depending on the choice that you make, it changes the direction. So those simply, as simply put as I can make them, those simply are the the steps into being able to recognize and change the patterns. You have the awareness of it. It creates that space, that distance. The distance creates the opportunity to have a choice, and that choice is what creates the change, essentially. So your past, it may deserve some understanding, because if you even want to go there, if you want to even look at your past, you can understand where your patterns are coming from, why they were formed. But in order to heal yourself, you don't need to do that. You don't need to even go into recognizing how the patterns are formed, especially if it's a very like emotionally charged memory for you. Then I would suggest you don't go into that. Absolutely not. But your future is going to be shaped by the choices that you continue to make, based on what you're willing to question that comes up. So if you recognize a pattern, you're willing to question that, like, does that serve me now? Is this aligned with who I want to actually be? That's what's going to shape your future, not the past. So even if you look at your past, do not get stuck in it. Absolutely, do not get stuck in it. The goal isn't to erase your past, but it's to stop it from, um, allowing you to run on autopilot, and by making the decisions that you're making now. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you back here next time.